Yo, peace was good. Welcome to another hip hop album review. This is part 181. The album that I'll be reviewing tonight is Pete Rock's solo debut album titled Soul Survivor, released in 1998. Everybody should know who Pete Rock is. If you don't know, I don't know what to tell you. You don't know hip hop. I'm just gonna keep it real with you on that. But seriously, Pete Rock, critically acclaimed hip hop producer. He was one half of the infamous duo Pete Rock and CL Smooth. They released classic albums. You know what I mean? The Main Ingredient and Megan and Soul Brother. I always said Main Ingredient was my favorite album out of the two albums, and then they dropped the EP called All Sold Out, which I did a review like about a week ago or 2 weeks ago. Check that out if you haven't peeped that. So right after the Main Ingredient, that's when they broke up. Pete Rock, throughout the mid-90s started, working with outside, doing like outside production and stuff like that. In 1995, he actually recorded 2 albums with N.O.R.E, which is Rap Lover's group. It's a group that he had. Rap Lover, Rabo, Marco Polo. Pete Rock, was kind of part of it, but not really. He was just there. Like he kind of he was like they were affiliated with Pete Rock, is what I should say. And then he also worked on the album with artist named Data, I think that's his name is. How you pronounce his name? Data or Dita, whatever. He dropped an album called The Original Baby Pie, 1995. Both albums were shelved, but it eventually came out in 2003, I think it was. But there's some controversy towards that because the N.O.R.E album was called Center of Attention, where that's not the original title. The original title of the album is the Life I Lead, and Rap Lover himself was saying like some of the songs, the track listing is wrong and stuff like that. They already have the original album, but it's just a matter of time when they put it out. So I would love to hear that album in its original form, even though that album is dope. But I would love to hear the interludes and all that shit. So that would be pretty dope. And then Data, pretty dope. He's like a street cat, street MC. You know what I mean? Over some dope Pete Rock beats. I mean, kind of hard and stuff like that. So you know what I'm saying? So it's a dope album. You know what I mean? But I would like to have it. I would like to get it like by itself, as well as the N.O.R.E album. But the only way you can get those albums if you get the Lost and Found album from 2003 that Pete Rock that the BBE, I think is the name of the record label, put out unofficially, and then Pete Rock has some words about that. So, but and then he's worked with like Lost Boys and countless other people throughout the mid-90s. And then around that time, around 95 is when he started the whole I think it was 95, but maybe earlier than that. But then he started working on Hot 97, and he started doing the whole Future Flavors shit. You know what I mean, with Marley Marl, the Future Flavors radio show. So yeah, man. So he started working on that, and then next thing you know, he was working on this album, and then eventually became this album right here. Right. So that's what the album looks like. You see, a beautiful black girl with an afro. Got the Pete Rock afro, the Chocolate Soul Brother #1. You know what I mean? Pretty dope. Alright, this is what the back looks like. See Pete Rock just looking somewhere, you know what I mean? Alright, this is what the album looks like. This is what the actual CD looks like. Alright. And then I don't know if you guys remember, but I had like the white shell like in the back and shit, but I replaced it with a clear one. So this is what the CD, the back looks like. So I definitely had to do that. Right? Same thing as the back of the CD. Same thing. You take this out, put the CD back in. Alright, so as you can see right here, see Pete Rock right here. Then you see the girl from the front of the cover right here. You see these two beautiful girls, and pretty dope. You see the real machine, pretty dope right there. And you see the artist, that performed and shit like that. This is footage from the Soul Survivor documentary that he did back in the '98 and shit like that. Yeah, it's pretty dope. Alright. Got the shout outs, the track list, and all that shit. Alright. Let me go through the features. Obviously, the production is done by Pete Rock himself, except for track 3, which was produced by Grab Lover, and I'll explain, why. I'll explain that in a second when I go through some of the tracks. Alright. The 2 singles off the album are True Master and Take Your Time. Those are the 2 singles off the album. Alright. The features in the album, there's a lot of features, so it's a compilation album, so it's a producer album, so it's pretty much cats rapping over, Pete Rock beats, but Pete Rock actually raps too. So we'll get a swig of water. Alright. So the features on the album are Inspector Deck, Corrupt, Method Man, O.C., Raekwon, Prodigy of Mobb Deep, Ghostface Killer, Lord Tariq and Peter Guns, Lost Professor and Coogee Rap, Black Dot of The Roots fame, Bravo, MC8, Carl McIntosh of Loose Ends, and Eugene formerly of Loose Ends, excuse me. Dope 80s band, R&B band, or funk band, I should say, or whatever. Vinny Mojica, very dope singer, very underrated. Miss Jones, who used to be a radio personality for Hot 97 at one point. CL Smooth, Big Pun, Noriega, N.O.R.E, Common, Tragic Gaddafi, Cavadonna, Sticky Fingers, Heavy D, rest in peace to him, and Beatty Man. Those are the features on the album, alright? So, you know how I get down. I'm gonna go through some of the tracks, alright? Track 1 is Soul Survivor intro. It's pretty dope. It's just him, just giving shout outs. Just him giving shouts over a loop and shit like that he did and things like that. It's kind of weird because usually when you do shout outs, usually do shout outs at the end of the album, but he did it in the beginning, so I thought that was pretty interesting. Track 2, True Master featuring Inspector Deck and Corrupt. That's the first single off the album. That's there's a video for that song right there. It's pretty dope. It has like the the NASCAR theme and stuff like that. I wrote down, there's a line, with Inspector Deck when he says spark the flame, burn this inside the vein, ride the tracks like Soul Train, hold your brain in the static of shock, make him drop like hits of cocaine. Like, it's just so ill, man. Like Inspector Deck is dope, man. Inspector Deck is dope. You know what I mean? And Pete Rock, he does a verse too. But Corrupt is dope. One thing I fucks with Corrupt. Corrupt did this thing on this song too. I've always told people, like, I always feel like Corrupt and Pete Rock have such a dope chemistry. Like, it's just amazing to me why they never did a collab album, and I would love for them to do that, you know what I mean? So maybe one day, who knows, man. But Corrupt and Pete Rock, y'all should definitely do like a collab album, because that would be so fucking dope, man. I would love that joint right there. Track 3, Half Man, Half Amazing, featured Method Man. Funny story with that song is that Grab Lover, he did an interview where he actually made the beat. But I think what it was that I think the melody and the bass line was there or some shit like that, or he couldn't figure out the bass line. But the drums, like the drum sounds, is what he was lacking, I guess. So Pete Rock kind of like did his magic. He kept the drum patterns, but he changed the drum sounds, and that's why they hit the way they did, and things like that. So that's a pretty dope joint right there. It features Method Man. Method Man, of course, kills that shit. Very, very dope. I fucks with that song a lot. It's a pretty dope joint. Track 4 is Respect Mine featuring OC. Love that joint right there. Dope beat right there. OC kills that shit. I mean, OC is mad dope, man. I fucks with OC. OC is a dope MC. I did a review on his first 2 albums, World Life and Jewels. Definitely check that album out. Those reviews that I did a while back, definitely check it out. I fucks with OC. He's so underrated. I fucks with that dude a lot. The Game featuring Raekwon, Prodigy, and Ghostface Killer. They all did their thing. And usually I'm a big Prodigy fan. I'm a big Mobb Deep fan. You guys know that. And I usually root for Prodigy, but I'm gonna have to give this to Raekwon. I think Raekwon had the best verse. He killed that joint right there, in my opinion. Even though Prodigy has some shit on this song, but I felt like he shines on the joint. You know what I mean? That's just my opinion. Oh, and Respect Mine with OC, dope use of the Raekwon sample. When he says Respect Mine from the I forgot the name of the song they got it from. I think it was Cream. I think it was Cream or Can It Be Also Simple. I think that's where that sample came from. All right. Track 6, Number One Soul Brother. That's a dope joint right there. That's a Pete Rock solo track. Pretty dope. I love the vibraphone sample that he uses, and I like the drum programming that he did. It's something different from Pete Rock, because if you guys know Pete Rock, his it's usually like the 2 kicks in the snare or 1 kick in the snare, but this time he kind of switched it up, and he had like kind of like an abstract drum program, especially for at that time, 98. It was very unheard of and shit like that. So I thought that was pretty dope, man. I fucks with that drum right there. It definitely sounded like something Kanye West would have done like later on in his career. Well, I won't say later on in his career, but like when he first started off and shit like that. Like around the college dropout era and stuff like that. So you could definitely tell that Kanye West was influenced by Pete Rock. So I thought I'd just throw that out there. Track 7, Lord Tariq, Rocksteady Part 2, featuring Lord Tariq and Peter Guns. I mean, Lord Tariq, man, he is so fucking dope, man. He's so dope. Like, he's so underrated, man. Lord Tariq, for those who don't know, he's from a group called the Money Boss Players, which consisted of Lord Tariq, Sonny Chiba, Eddie Money, I think his name is Eddie something, I forgot the name. Producer Minnesota is in that group too, so, and he raps too, you know what I mean? But yeah, Lord Tariq definitely kills it in my opinion. Peter Guns was cool, but I always felt like Peter Guns was kind of but he's like one of those dudes that I don't really he served his purpose, but I think Lord Tariq, man, he's just so gutter, and like the dude can spit, and like his flow is fucking dope, and I fucks with Lord Tariq a lot, man. I just wish he put out more shit, you know what I mean? But the streets, man, the streets, you know what I mean? So okay, track 8, Truly Yours, 98, featuring Large Professor and Coogee Rap. It's paying homage to Coogee Rap. That's what I got from it. You know what I mean? Truly Yours, which is also featured on the Road to the Riches album with Coogee Rap and DJ Polo. Well, this is like the 98 version. Same beat and everything. So I thought that was pretty dope. You know what I mean? I fucks with that joint right there. Coogee Rap is definitely one of my favorite MCs of all time. Definitely, if not, he is my favorite. You know what I mean? But yeah, pretty dope joint right there. Has like an '80s, like a late '80s feel to it. You know what I mean? Like I said, it's paying homage to Coogee Rap. That's what I got from that. Track 9 is About Time featuring Black Thought and Rob O. Um, I felt like the beat was okay. You know, I feel like it could have been a little bit better. Um, it definitely sounded like something that I could hear on, you know, on a Roots album. You know, like an album like you know, Things Fall Apart or some shit like that. Like I definitely could have seen that on that album, but you know, I feel like it was okay. Could have been a little bit better. You know what I mean? But the lyrics are dope. You know, Black Thought and Rob O. I mean, can't go wrong with them cats, man. Even though I feel like Black Thought, like, I mean, I said because niggas got, you know, niggas, you know, caught feelings and shit when I said what I said, but about Black Thought a while back, so not even gonna do that. Track 10, One Life to Live featuring MC8. Fucking love that joint, man. MC8 fucking kills that shit. He sounds good over P Rock beats, man, and the beat, like, it's just so dope, man. Like, he just the resonation, the ringing modulation that the SP brings out to samples is just so dope. And then, you know, that song is definitely a prime example of that, man. I mean, he just shines like the sun on this album. And MC, he definitely does his thing on that joint right here. But my only thing, like, I feel like the thing with that song though, I feel like with the first verse, it sounded like he was trying to put too much in. He was trying to punch in, and it sounded a little offbeat. It didn't really sound too good. But and the third verse, I think he improved. You know what I mean? I think he improved better. You know what I mean? P Rock obviously sounded good, but I feel like in the next verse that he did, he sounded a lot better. You know, kind of caught himself, you know, and that's my only thing with that. But overall, dope beat, dope song. I just feel like when the first verse, you know, he just kind of sounded a little bit rushed in my opinion. But the third verse, which he does, you know, he definitely reevaluated his. Sorry about that's my phone. But yeah, you know, he definitely did his thing on that joint right there. And shout out to P Rock on that joint right there. And that's what I like about P Rock, man. Like, he's actually rapping more. You know what I mean? So, and you know, with this being his solo debut album, you know, you would expect that. You know what I mean? Track 11, Take Your Time, featuring Carl McIntosh and Jane Eugene of Loose Ends. Very, very dope joint right there. What I like about the song is that, you know, Jane's vocals, she has like a really silky voice, and the beat really complements her voice. You know, it really complements that. Like, I wouldn't mind hearing her just singing on the song. Like, it sounded that good. Like, I mean, they both sounded good. You know what I mean? And that's one thing I like about this album is that, you know, it's very versatile. You know what I mean? You got your hard joints and you got your smooth joints and stuff like that. So I thought that was pretty cool. You know what I mean? So so that was Take Your Time. Alright. Track 12, Mind Blowing, featuring Vanya Mojica. In this song, he talks about, you know, finding that one exotic chick, you know what I mean, and just traveling the world with her, and just, you know, just living the dream. That's what I got for that joint right there. And that's with Pete Rock, featuring Vanya Mojica. Track 13, Soul Survivor, features Miss Jones of Hot 97 fame, but she was also an R&B singer. I don't think a lot of people know that. Some people do, some people don't. But I thought I'd just throw that out there. Really dope song right there. Change the beat. Sorry. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah. Really dreamy beat, with Miss Jones and Pete Rock rapping over it. Really dope joint right there. I fucks with that. Track 14, The Two featuring CL Smooth. Very, very, very dope. I fucks with that song a lot. It's good to hear them back together. I could just imagine them, you know, if if you could, I could only imagine the album back in 1990 with Pete Rock and CL Smooth, and the way that song sounded, I could just imagine how that album would have been. It would have been fucking dope. It would have been kind of like harder edge, if you ask me. You know what I mean? But yeah, CL Smooth, he is so fucking dope, man. He's so underrated, man. But he's one of them dudes that, you know, he sounds good over Pete Rock beats. Like, I can't see him rapping over other beats. And yes, I did hear his American Me album. I think it came out, I think, like 2006. And his other albums, it's just, I don't know, man. It wasn't like all that. The production didn't really fit his style. Like, he needs Pete Rock beats. The same thing with Guru. Even though Guru, like, he does sound good over people's beats. It depends. You know what I mean? It depends on the producer. But it just sounded so good. Like, it just sounded, it felt good to hear them back together. You know, but I think it was just for the album. You know what I mean? But you know, I would have loved if they had dropped the album back in around that time, like 97, 98. That would have been fucking dope, man. And that's definitely one of my favorite joints on the album. I fucks with that album a lot. Track 15, Verbal Murder 2, featuring Big Pun, Noriega, N.O.R.E, and Common. Everybody delivers on this track. I mean, they're fucking dope. I mean, I know a lot of people talk shit about Noriega, but he definitely serves his purpose. Like, he's fucking dope, man. You know what I mean? Especially Noriega back then. You know, back in the late 90s, like War Report. You know, N.O.R.E album, Niggas on the Run, Eating Era. That's the N.O.R.E I like, that I miss. You know, Melvin Flint. The Reunion album. You know, that's the N.O.R.E, like, pretty much from 96 to 2000. That's the N.O.R.E that I miss, that I like. You know what I mean? And I wish we could get that N.O.R.E back, but unfortunately you can't. You know, but everybody delivers on that joint right there. And then my second favorite joint right there on the coming up is a song called Strange Fruit, featuring Tragic Gaddafi, Capadonna, and Sticky Fingers. Fucking love that joint. That beat is so tough right there. I fucks with that song right there. To me, everybody delivered, but I think the person that had the best verse was Sticky Fingers. I think he stood out. You know, when he said, like, I see you so much blood, you might think I'm Crip. You know, yo, it's just like, I forgot to write it down, but his shit is so dope, man. I mean, Sticky Fingers, he just wilded out on that track right there, but everybody else did their thing. There is an original version of the song that's unreleased, and it features, I wrote it down, it features Noriega, Tragedy, Gaddafi, and Mechalicious, who was affiliated with Pete Rock. And Pete Rock even had a verse on that track too. I kind of wish that was on this album, but I think he did that, due to, sorry about that. So I think he didn't put that on the album. I think due to, like, I guess marketing purposes. Because like Tragic Gaddafi, Noriega, Mechalicious, they were kind of underground. I mean, Tragedy, people knew him, but they were underground in a sense. You know what I mean? They didn't have that mainstream appeal, you know what I mean? But like, unlike Capadonna and Sticky Fingers, because people know Capadonna, from Wu-Tang, and people know Sticky Fingers from Onyx. So because at that time, Wu-Tang and Onyx around like the mid '90s and late '90s. They were popular. They were really big. You know what I mean? They were popping. You know what I mean? But Strange Fruit, I fucking love that joint. You know what I mean? So, and they use the David Axelrod sample. Pretty dope right there. And I've heard people flip it, but I kind of prefer. I like the way he flipped it. Like he gave the joint bounce to it. You know what I mean? With the bass line and shit like that. Very dope. I fucks with that. And track 17, Massive Hold Tight featuring Heavy D and Beanie Man. Pretty dope joint. It has like a 70s. It has a reggae vibe but with a 70s twist to it. Very dope. Rest in peace to Heavy D. They all deliver. They both deliver. You know what I mean? I fucks with the joint right there. And that's pretty much it, guys. Overall, very, very dope album. Very underrated. I rarely hear people talk about this album. You know, when people talk about P-Rock, people always talk about they always talk about the first two albums, you know, Mac and the Soul Brother and Main Ingredient. But I rarely hear about people talk about this album, and it is beyond me. You know, what I like about this album, he kind of stepped out of his comfort zone. I mean, he still had the signature Pete Rock, but you know, without the horns, he saw like a different side of Pete Rock. He was like more versatile, you know, and that's what I like. You know what I mean? It's pretty dope. Like I said, you had like your smooth joints. You had your, you know, up-tempo, like not up-tempo, but he had your more hard-edge joints, you know, your street joints and stuff like that. And it's really dope, man. And there is a documentary, which is on YouTube. I'll post it down in the description box, which is the making of this album, you know, how it came about. You see, like, you know, studio sessions and stuff like that. So, but yeah, man, highly recommended. This is out of print, but it goes for but you get it for relatively cheap, you know what I mean? But it's a pretty dope album. If you can find it, I highly recommend you guys checking this album out. But yeah, very underrated if you ask me. And that's it, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed that review, and stay tuned for more. Oh, and by the way, I know some of you guys gonna ask me, but me and my nigga JD, who I've mentioned before, we went to the Pete Rock and DJ Premier concert on Saturday in Miami. And yes, I do have footage. I'll post it after I put this review up, so you guys can check it out. I recorded it on my phone. I recorded like 28 minutes of it, but I recorded it from Facebook Live, so the quality might not be the best, but you know, it's the best I could do. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more. Alright? Peace!